All right. I should be live. I didn't even check to see if I turned my mic on through the right setting. I guess, yeah, I guess it was already there. All right. Anyway, we'll see if we can get through this without having any catastrophic failures of any kind. I haven't seen it go live yet, but I'm assuming we'll get there. I'm assuming it's going to be like a standard 50-second lag time for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, there it is. I don't know why it's like that. It used to be like, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. Now it feels like it's almost always like close to a minute between between what I'm doing here and what gets received on the other end, if that makes any sense. I don't know. That's not what we're here to talk about. That's all sort of highly technical stuff. Anyway, I was just gonna do like a little election update. I don't really have a lot. Nothing's really been happening. That's kind of the main one of the main points of this. I'll talk about sort of the shift in the polls, but I was already talking about that. I feel like when was the last time I streamed this? Like a week ago. I talked about election stuff. I'll bring the map back up and look at that again, but it's that it'll just be more like the same. There are some polls, a couple of polls that look really good for Kamala Harris. We can talk about that, but sort of the weird thing is we're just in this weird doldrum. It feels like, except for all of the Kamala people going absolutely fucking bananas and just I don't know, they're having a whole hell of a time of it and partying it up and celebrating, and it kind of makes sense. I talked about this I think last time about the surge of support and everyone just basically being excited that Joe Biden's not the nominee and not really caring that it's Kamala so much. I don't know. Maybe they think it's kind of funny that she's the nominee. I have no idea. Maybe people actually like her. I think that's unlikely. I think that's a little unlikely. It's hard to tell. It is a little weird though. She's doing like all these kind of rah rah speeches, not saying a whole lot of anything. I don't think she has done like a sit down interview with the media since she got the nomination. Not a long form one. Like maybe did she answer any like maybe she had like a passing question, that thing where they just sort of yell questions at you and you kind of mumble out an answer as you're walking down a hallway. Maybe there was something like that, but I don't think there's been any kind of formal like we're going to sit down in some chairs and have a chat. Trump just did that with Elon, I guess yesterday. I didn't watch it. I didn't really care to. I saw some snippets of it. People were talking about. There was one pretty bad moment, I think, in there for Trump. I think most of it was probably just them bullshitting, and it's a friendly environment, so it probably went mostly well, I would guess. But kind of the thing that could hurt him there. So, like, if it's on X, like, God, I mean, most of the people watching it live, they're mostly going to be Trump fans anyway. Elon fans, Trump fans. Elon supports Trump, and I don't think it'll matter too much for them, but I do think there was one thing that kind of might have screwed him. I don't know if I should talk about this after I do the main point, but I'll just go ahead. I already brought it up, so I guess I'll just put it out there. There was one point where it came out and they started like talking about striking workers going on strike in unions. And then they started like laughing, and Trump was like thanking him, and they were joking around about like firing all of the people that go on strike. It was really odd, I would think, because I thought they were trying to like appeal to the union people. Didn't they have a union guy come speak at the RNC? And I think now some of the unions, one of the unions, I think is trying to sue them because of this, because they were, maybe they weren't joking. I don't know. I don't know the whole history of this, but they were talking about firing people that go on strike and stuff. The optics of it are terrible. Like you have two billionaires sitting there laughing it up and having a good time talking about like just firing people that are striking for trying to like get higher wages or more time off or whatever it is they're trying to do, better work hours, better work environment. I have no idea, but the optics are bad, and so that was clipped out, and I guess I guess they're suing both of them. I don't really know how that works, but anyway, back to kind of the main point. I tend to go down these rabbit trails. There's not a ton going on. Like I said, not a lot of shifts or interviews. I assume this will be the last time I do this until maybe they have a debate. That's the only time I can think anything's really going to change. But sort of the reason I was going to do this is to talk about the polls, which I'd already was saying looked like they were shifting in Kamala's favor. Looked like they were kind of going in that direction, and she had just a couple of them come out that were extremely good for her. And I'm putting that maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Extremely good. They're still like largely within the margin of error, so it's not like it's saying she would win even if they had the election today or anything like that. It might just look extremely good compared to before. It's better than any polling the Democrats had under Biden or like this entire election cycle or anything like that. So the hype is still continuing with her. I'll put the map up here so I can better explain this. There was two of them. One came out a few days ago. I don't remember exactly when. Maybe it was over the weekend, right before the weekend. I don't know. But that one, I believe it was only a poll of 3 states, but it doesn't really matter because of what I'll explain to you here in a second. So hopefully you can see this. I got it up. I keep having to use this one because any other election map I've tried just doesn't cooperate. They always want to run ads on the side, and it's stupid. But we got this, and I got it set up. I don't know if you can read the numbers. I'll just read them out for you. So the way this looks right now is based on this New York Times Siena poll that came out that was for Wyoming, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And it had her winning each of those by 4 points, which I guess was still slightly within the margin of error, which I guess was 5 points for that poll. But the important thing about this, if you just give her each of those states and then you set all the other states to like all these other states that are a sure thing, like California and Idaho and Wyoming and Montana and New Mexico, Colorado, you set all those the way they're going. And then you give Trump all the other swing states, except, some people call Virginia a swing state. Probably not. See, Kamala gets that one. You give him all the rest of them. And she would still win if you did this. So at this point, you're getting to the point where she's got like multiple ways to win the election, I guess is the important thing to say. This is like absolutely at least a 50-50 race. It almost looks like it's leaning in Kamala's favor at this point. And I think last time I was kind of on the opposite of that, but it's basically 50-50 and has been now for a while. Just looking at the polls, they're not everything. Some people talk about enthusiasm and stuff. That was another thing. Another thing that became an issue was the crowd sizes. Trump was saying Kamala faked her crowd sizes. I don't remember if they talked about that last night on X. That was kind of a wild thing. He was saying that they were fake, AI, no one was there. Kind of stupid. That kind of stuff doesn't help him at all. Makes him look dumb. And it makes him look petty too, like he's losing. And her crowds, it's not like they were massive, but the media was really hyping him up. Anyway, that's kind of crazy. If she won each of those, which according to that poll, she was winning pretty well, not outside the margin of error. So still, she could still lose every last one of them, and it can still be a blowout for Trump. But it's an indication that it looks good. And then there was another one. So this one was wild. I don't know about this. I said this about another one, I think the other week, though. And at some point, it gets to the point where all the polls seem to start just agreeing that she's doing better. All the polls, the national polls have all agreed. She's winning nationally. But that, I've explained a million times, it doesn't matter. She's winning by, I don't know, 2 to 4, 5 points nationally, something like that. Doesn't really matter. Except like I've talked about before, showing kind of power levels, but at a 3-point difference doesn't really make much of a difference as far as all your money and donors and all that. She is, I believe, winning in money and donors and stuff, though. But this poll was, what was this? Cook something? Cook Political did a survey poll, and they had they had her winning everything, every swing state except Nevada and Georgia. So they were tied in Georgia. So this is what that would look like. And she was winning some of these pretty handily. So she had Pennsylvania, they had her winning by another thing. It's like that other poll I talked about where I don't believe this. Some of these numbers are weird. Some of the states you'd think she'd be winning by bigger, others by less, and the numbers are all kind of skewed. And all these again, margin of error, I believe. I don't think she was like up by. There might have been one where she was up by 6. Which one was that? Okay, it was none of these, but still a weird poll. So she was up by 1 in Pennsylvania, 3 in Michigan, 3 in Wisconsin, tied in Georgia. She was winning Arizona, which is kind of weird, by 2 points. What's really weird is it had her winning North Carolina by a point. That's, I'm almost certainly a mistake, but I don't know. It's kind of, who the fuck knows at this point? And then she was losing Nevada by 3 points. So obviously that would be a blowout. That would just add more states to this. So it would have her winning all those. Let him have the tie in Georgia. Let him have Arizona. Or no, she would take Arizona. And apparently North Carolina. That seems stupid to me. That would just be a massive blowout. But I think you get the idea here. The idea is that all the polls are at least looking good. They're on the right track for her. And even though, like I said before, they're in the margin of error, that doesn't, at this point, it's starting not to matter so much, because what it's showing you is that there's a trend. That basically, once you get all of these, and this is why you'll see sometimes people talking about pulling averages, and then there's sort of a different thing. It won't be a margin of error. I forget the precise term. When you start talking about the averages, it might be margin of difference. I forget exact. No, it's not margin of difference. That's something else. But it's a different sort of variable where if you're within a certain range, when it comes to an aggregate of polls and an average, that you're still kind of not sure. And I think she hasn't broken outside of that either, probably at this point. I don't even think she has nationally, but you're starting to see it go in that direction, I guess is the way to put it. I don't know how else to put this. Once you start seeing all of these things move and they're all starting to line up, you're starting to think, okay, well, these aren't all outliers. They're starting to like indicate that she is on the ground actually doing better in all of these states, if that makes sense, especially in the Rust Belt states. Like it seems like she has an advantage in all of those. And if she wins those 3, she wins the whole election. The other ones don't matter at all. And that's what I was talking about with the multiple pathways. If she's doing better in all of those, then she can also start like looking at, okay, well, maybe even if we lost one of those, maybe we can pick up Arizona, and that'll make up if we lose Wisconsin. I doubt she's going to lose Wisconsin, but maybe they'll lose Michigan. I don't know. I don't think Arizona would make up for Michigan, though. They'd have to get something. Georgia, they could flip Michigan and Georgia. The electoral votes are similar in those. So you get the idea, though. You get the idea. It's all just to say that she's actually doing better. I still think I'm going to leave it at a 50-50 because there's something in my gut that just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. It does feel. A lot of people have talked about this, that at some point it's going to start crashing back down for her. I don't know if that makes any fucking sense. Like it's like they're all hyped up now, but then once people get to know her, they're not going to like her, and maybe that's why she's hiding, but I don't really know. Vouch Jr. Doesn't matter. Trump Vance is going to win. Nobody wants neoliberal warmongers like Kamala. Is that a... Oh, God. Kevin Castley. I haven't seen that guy in a while. Yeah, so that's all I got. That's all I got for this. Just a little update. Not much to it, though, other than just to say things are trending in her direction. Maybe I put it at like 45, 55 Trump's favor last time. I'm just going to say 50-50. I don't fucking know. I get the feeling that at some point maybe it's just because I don't like Kamala and I don't understand what could be getting to people other than they just know that she's not Trump or Biden. And that might be enough. That was always a thing, a theory, that if literally any other person ran, just a name, they would win, because they would win. There was a huge portion of people that hated both Trump and Biden. So they were saying, we'd vote for. That's why RFK was doing so well. That's another thing. Don't know if RFK is going to make a big difference. I feel like at this point, RFK has got to be hurting Trump more. Has to be, because most people, what they're attributing this to is just all of the Democrats, basically all the people that supported Biden last time, just coming back and supporting Harris, and that's basically it. So that's about all I got for this one. Maybe I'll do one when the debates come back. I have no idea. I have no idea if they're going to have a debate. I assume they're going to do one in September, but I don't know for sure. They seem to be arguing about that. Can't decide. They're both calling each other cowards and all the same shit. And it's, I don't know. I don't know at this point that it wouldn't make, if anyone wouldn't want to do it, I guess it would be Kamala. She's still saying, let's do the one debate. Maybe if they just did one and she kind of came out of it looking okay, that would be the best case scenario for her. And then she just leaves, just never does another one. I don't think they'd let that happen, though. I think they'd try to lock in at least one on Fox News, but she could always back out, I guess. I guess there's no way to force her to do it if they did the ABC one first, but whatever, we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great night.